how's it going? My name is RoShawn. I want to talk to you today about the way the system works and how it affects people in particular ways. A lot of people actually know that I've been sucked into the system when I was a kid. Some of you don't, but I have been sucked into the system when I was a kid, 17, with a charge that is not so good, and to me, I believe should not have happened. But today we are not here to talk about me and my story. Actually, I'm here with Sybil, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk to you about Sybil's story. So Sybil, how old were you? Got that airplane up there.
We're outside, guys, so bear with us.
How old were you when you first got sucked into the system?
I was in my 20s, in my late 20s, not quite 30.
Okay.
Yes. And it came from me. Let me say this. It's important to have the right people around you all the time, right? But because of a particular friend of mine, I did something, and I went to jail for organized crime. And that was in 1995, right? And they were just putting everything in with organized crime.
That's over 20 years ago.
That's over 20 years ago. In April of 2020, it will make 22 years that I've been out of prison. The thing about that is how the system is, and I did like 3 flat. I was sentenced to 2 7-year sentences to run concurrent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, after 22 years, in April of 2020, I still face challenges with housing, really housing.
You know, hold on one second. I'm sorry, I had to kind of cut it for a minute. But what kind of challenges did you say you were facing?
So, housing, I'm always facing housing challenges. When you get out of prison, you only get out with $50, and then you have that next day you go see your parole officer, you get the other $50.
Do everybody get out with $50?
You're supposed to get 100. Yes, you're supposed to get 100. I don't even recall getting the second $50. So for me, I only got $50. Well, if you don't have a support system, when you come home, say you've burned all your bridges, how are you going to get even to your parole officer to get the so-called other $50? That does not work. But right now, man, I have to pay double deposits. They want your first and last month rent. It's a humiliating thing when you can't meet your basic needs, bro. It just is. And you can even have good rental history. But because of the crime and how they categorize my crime under organized crime, where really it was writing checks on my own bank account. So that was how naive and young I was, right? Who writes checks on their own bank account to get caught? But they called it organized crime, and because of them calling it organized crime, people say, well, what is that? You have to explain it, and I get tired of explaining. I haven't been back to prison. I am a mentor. I am a recovery coach. I'm an author. I do a lot in the community, but does that even matter?
Well,
No.
let me ask you this. This happened over 20 years ago, and I understand when you got out, you may have had issues with housing and jobs and all sorts of issues, trying to figure out how to probably make it to parole and back. But 20 years later, do it still affect you right now today?
It affects me right now today. I can't get an apartment. Just last year, where we are right now, this is Texas Southern University's student housing. It's an apartment complex, but it's only for the students, right? They asked me about my criminal background. Well, because I was a potential student, I got here because they want to see the success of their students. However, if this was another place and like I intend on moving, it's just a headache, man. It's extremely discouraging because one, I'm a disabled veteran. I'm not working. I am a college student right now. Who has with the constant increase of property taxes and rent? I looked at a house, say last Thursday or last Friday. It was $1,500 just so that I could be close.
Was that a month?
To my school. $1,500 a month. The lady said that I would have to have $1,500 for the deposit, $1,500 for the rent, and depending on my credit, I might have to add an additional $1,500. So that's everywhere I go. They don't look at what I've done with my life since I've been out.
Let me ask you this. 1995 is when you caught your first charge, right?
Yes.
When is the last time you got in trouble?
2004.
2004.
And there was a counting case.
Which is still over 10 years ago.
Still over 10 years ago.
What type of housing issues have you had?
I can't get a place. Well, it's money. It all boils down to money. If I had a stack of money, I could say, look, I need an apartment. And if I could show you that I have a job where I'm getting regular income, because you have to make 3 times to 3.5 times the rent. So if your rent is $800 a month, you need to be making right at $3,000 a month.
So are you saying because of your criminal history, you can't get a job to make enough money in order to get proper housing? Or
because of my criminal history, it is hard for me to get housing whether I can prove the income or not because of the criminal history alone. People don't want to house people that have felonies. If your credit is, I've been a victim of identity theft 3 times, right? That's a problem. I'm on my Social Security right now, right? And I'm not working, so that's why, well, I'm not getting money from the work that I do as an advocate because I'm just doing it because our voices need to be heard.
Okay, as far as the job market, what kind of jobs are available to you, or what kind of jobs are you having problems getting?
No,
work?
I haven't had a problem getting a job. If I go and look for a job, I can get a job. But I've been in school. I have some training. However, I know people that they can't get a job because of their criminal record. And I mean, I've had some jobs where they weren't the best jobs. It's a humiliating thing when you have to constantly explain, hey, I was young, I don't do that anymore, that's not where my life is, I've done this, and this. You're an adult. You have a rental history, and yet you can't get the job because your credit score is not right. You can't get the housing because you don't have a job to vouch for the amount of money that you need. So that is one of the things that adds to the recidivism rate. Well, if I'm paying fees for AA, this class, that class, I've got to meet. It's like jumping through hoops. We already jumped through hoops. But when the hoops are on fire, we still have to jump through those hoops. So it boils down to how determined and focused you are, and what is the system that you have around you, the people that you have around you to keep you motivated. Recidivism comes because people don't have a support system and they lose hope. They lose hope. So yes, they go back to selling drugs. They go back to being prostitutes or pimps or whatever, boosted, whatever it is.
So, outside of housing or job issues, how do you feel the criminal justice system hold people back?
I feel like the criminal justice whole system holds people back because they don't promote or tell what's really the resources that are really out there to help people. Because if you don't, it's not always what you know, but who you know. And if things like that are being marketed, then how do we know as exiles, as people who have been incarcerated, right? So yes, they hold you back. They hold you back because they don't help you expunge your record. If your record is qualifies for expungement, you need to be able to get it expunged, and it shouldn't charge us any money because we've already paid our dues to society, and yet even after 22 years, I'm still paying my dues to society because society is unforgiving and it doesn't make sense.
Right.
So that I'm already humiliated. I already don't want to talk about it, but now you're forcing me to talk about it. So let me really make some freaking noise.
Right. It's like, how long do a criminal record follow me? Like, why do it follow me for the rest of my life? Why does something that happened over 20 years ago still like hold a piece of my life, or like, why is this a piece of my story and who I am today
for the rest of your life?
Why people qualify me or disqualify me for something as far as housing, the way I live, what type of money that I can get. I think it's absurd.
It is. It's totally absurd. It's totally absurd simply because of the fact that I feel like this. When we rehabilitate ourselves, it's just that we rehabilitate ourselves. We want something different for ourselves. Prison does not rehabilitate anybody. Actually, it keeps you in a hyper-vigilant state of mind. It's survival, right? Fight or run. You can't run in prison. You can run out here, but you can't run in prison. And that is always just hanging over my head because I'm tired of explaining. When you reach a certain point in your life and people know you by the work that you do, why am I having a problem meeting my basic needs? You should be able to get any apartment that you want to. I should be able to, or buy a home, get a home, anywhere. It shouldn't be about your criminal record. When does that fall off? You served your time, I've served my time. So what is happening is the system is holding us hostage. That's what it wants to do. It wants to hold us hostage. And it's being quite successful at it.
So you caught your first charge in 1995. The second charge was 9 years later, which is a nice gap in between, and then you hadn't been in trouble since. So if you had one request to improve the criminal justice system, what would it be? If you could change the system any
I
way
would say for the people, remove our backgrounds immediately. That should just that needs to come off.
After how long?
If we've successfully completed parole, it needs to be gone. Period. That's it, and that's all.
I like that.
Let it be gone.
Okay. You served your time.
Because we served our time, and we came here and we jumped through the hoops that were on fire, and we completed successfully.
Well, let me ask you this: is there any charge at all you think that somebody, after they have already done their time inside, already come? I mean, do you
I don't
think
think it's
that
any
there's
charge.
any?
I think every
Do you
charge.
think there's any charge that you should have to deal with for the rest of your life?
No. No, I do not.
What
No, I
about
do
murder?
not. No, I do not. People, hey, stuff happens. Life happens. You can't. Life happens. Life happens. I don't care if it's a sex offense. I don't care if it's a murder charge. If I have completed parole or probation successfully, that should be gone. I should not be tracked. I should be able to live like a human being, deserving of respect, dignity, and mutuality. Period. I should not have to constantly be reminded that I made a mistake. I know I made a mistake. I jumped through the hoops, and I jumped through the hoops that were on fire. And yet, I haven't gone back to jail or prison. So, what we need to do, this criminal justice system, it can only be changed through education, right? Now, with me, every time I look around, and even you, with our cases, it's like, we finished, we're done. We're pillars of the community. We do what we have to do. It's still following us. So, isn't that re-traumatizing for you? Every time I have to explain and relive that scenario because I can't move forward due to you're holding this criminal background over my head, I'm re-traumatized. See, trauma is real, right? It's not just, look, we went to jail, we did something, we made a mistake. Sometimes people are innocent. They don't even do nothing. But because of the people they affiliated with don't have a backbone, right? They don't have a backbone. They got a wishbone where their backbone should be. And then other people slide or impacted for the rest of their lives.
You know, that's another major issue I have with the system, when people get sucked into the system behind something they didn't do, or behind something that was a misunderstanding, or behind something that people, you know, like, it's just because somebody needed somebody to put in place of what happened and didn't know who to put there, so they used you as the scapegoat, and you have to deal with it for the rest of your life.
I think they ought to be punished.
And it's sad and it's sickening. But Sybil, you got a new book coming out, right?
I most certainly do.
What's the name of it?
It is called, I do not know. My goodness, I have to look at the title myself.
Untitled Poetry?
It's Untitled Poetry, going through struggles of my life. It's a compilation of prose and a poetry. A bit about my story is I'm a survivor of sexual trauma from the military and from my father since the age of 9. So I went through a whole lot. I believe in God, and I know that I had a praying family. That's the only reason I still know what my name is.
So the people can expect to probably see your book on Kindle, Amazon, Barnes & Noble.
Everywhere. Everywhere that it could possibly be, it will be.
And, you know, for the end of the interview, would you like to tell everyone if they would like to connect with you, or maybe ask you questions, or support you in your journey in changing the system?
Absolutely. You can connect with me at Sybillionaire1 on Instagram, Sybillionaire on Twitter. I'm Sybillionaire on Facebook. That is Sybillionaire. Sybillionaire, better known Sybil, better known as Sybillionaire. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. Connect with me, and we can talk about this journey and how we can transform the criminal justice system.
And there you have it. You got Sybil, a billionaire, and I am RoShawn. Until next time, you all have a blessed day. Stay safe, stay out of the system, and please advocate for changes in the judicial system before it knocks at your door.
That's right.
See you soon.
See you soon.